landing their first add-ons patches in the last week. That's been pretty exciting. Hertie in particular, she was really persistent. I think she came into AMO. She was really excited to learn. Her patch had to go through quite a few revisions before it was able to land, and she stuck with it. And I think that's really awesome. And it looks like she's looking around for more bugs to get involved with. Hey, Andreas. And our team just kind of came in and took on an add-ons manager bug and really helped improve the add-ons manager. So that's pretty awesome. So thanks so much to our community. Um, this week I had a couple of things that I wanted to touch base about, but if anybody has any questions, we can certainly talk about other topics too. So our first discussion item for this week is a themes update. Hey, Jorge, joined at just the right time. So last week we officially launched the static themes to replace lightweight themes on AMO. So that submission flow has changed and it went pretty well, I think, all things considered. We had a group of theme designers testing the feature while it was in soft launch, so they were able to give us some early feedback about what to expect and how the experience could be improved. So that was really helpful. So it was in a soft launch state for about 4 weeks, I want to say 4 to 6 weeks. So there are some things that we are looking to improve the theme designing experience for static themes in the near future. One of those things is getting Firefox Color, which is a test pilot extension that allows you to customize themes. Adding a couple of features to Firefox Color that are really like heavy users of themes like to have, so that you can upload a background image to Firefox Color and then use that and then have that connect into your browser. So you can have private themes and you can also test your themes before you submit them to AMO. So the last I heard is that feature is coming very soon to Firefox Color. We're hoping to see that come in for about 1 to 2 weeks, but in the interim time, we are getting some feedback from theme designers that it's a little bit difficult to preview their themes. So it's something that we acknowledge is happening, and there should be a fix for that very soon. Jorge, is there anything else you'd like to say about themes?
Okay, bye. No, you summed it up very well. Yeah. So right now the main gap that we have in the development experience is color, and we hope that's going to be fixed very soon. We've been getting a few reports from our most active designers, and we filed a couple of issues of things that we hadn't contemplated before, so that's great. But yeah, I've seen a stream of new themes being submitted, which is good, including some new stuff like themes with animated images in them. So that's cool. So yeah, once we get those issues fixed, I think we're going to be in a very good shape.
Yay! So, our next steps, we do know that there's some gaps in documentation at the moment. So, user-facing documentation for how you can design and preview a new static theme. So, we're in the process right now of retiring the lightweight themes documentation on MDN and writing up new documentation. So that is on our radar and should be coming out pretty soon. Otherwise, the experience is mostly the same. There's a wizard within AMO that you can use to customize your theme and upload it to AMO. So the experience should be similar enough for new folks that they can test it out, but we do want to kind of like provide a little bit more information for other folks who are new to the system. Any questions about themes? Excellent. Okay, great. I'm also going to turn it back over to Jorge for an update about AMO Q4. There was a planning meeting earlier this morning to talk about what's going on in AMO Q4. And Jorge is just wondering if you could summarize that for us.
There wasn't a meeting this morning. We actually have a meeting next Wednesday.
I was looking at the wrong date on the calendar.
I hope nobody got up for this because yeah, there was no meeting. So yeah, the meeting is scheduled for next week when we're gonna start talking about the plan for Q1 2019. Right now we've been just finishing the plan for Q4, which is pretty much finalized. I can go over a little bit of that if you want.
That would be amazing.
Just give me a sec. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. So we're also experimenting with a new format for the document because it started to look a lot like a spreadsheet. So Stuart told me, this is a spreadsheet, so maybe we should just make it a spreadsheet. So yeah, we're trying this out. There are some problems because the kind of collaboration tools in Google Docs isn't that great for spreadsheet. But on the other hand, this makes it easier to add more stuff to it, and yeah, there are some good things about this, but I'm not going to get into details. Let's go over just real quick the primary goals for Q4. So first one is disabling the legacy add-on listings and legacy front end.
Oh, hold on just 1 second. Hi, new folks. Thanks so much for joining us. If you could mute yourselves, that would be really great. We're getting a little bit of feedback. Thank you so much.
So this is pretty much what the title says. We're going to disable the legacy add-ons as we announced recently. We're going to do that early in October. That's fine right now. As for the front end, there is some work still to port certain pages to the new front end before we can do this. That's not as urgent. So the work in Q4 is going to be to finish porting those pages so that it's so we can disable the old front end, at least like the user-facing bits, because there's a lot of developer tools and such that are still in the old front end. Then there are SEO improvements. These are mostly low-level stuff. There are changes to how we handle URLs and page titles and redirects and stuff like that that can confuse search engine crawlers and can make our search engine ranking lower than it should be. So these are just some tweaks to make that better and improve. And the goal is to increase the amount of people who are coming into AMO from search engines. Hero area. So this is like the big blocky section of the homepage that we are working on making it a bit smaller and also a bit more informative. We've received some feedback that people find it a bit confusing because it doesn't provide enough context. So we're working on giving a bit more detail there and also provide more guidance to users who are new to extensions and the whole experience. So that involves also creating more kind of narrative content and more like blog style kind of content on AMO to explain to users how to use, like, not just say, hey, here's an extension, but rather say, hey, this is how you block ads. This is how you, like, kind of like show them, guide them through the whole experience. Content optimization. So looking into Q1 and Q2 of next year, we're going to be making changes to the add-on product pages and also to the homepage. And with that in mind, we're working on improving the kind of metadata that's available for add-ons and the quality of that metadata. So we're going to be tightening certain things about like descriptions and names, like lengths and the kind of content that goes into those fields. Also encouraging people to have screenshots, to have better icons, So this is a set of changes to the quality requirements to all of those fields that we're going to ideally launch sometime in Q4. So they're mostly changes to the submission flow of new extension, and also to the edit pages in the developer hub. Search relevancy, that's about basically what it says. It's improving the search results on AMO. So we've had some problems with that in the past, and we haven't really investigated that as much. So we started working on this in Q3. We're going to continue that work in Q4. And this is mostly low-level stuff, changing certain configurations and the Elasticsearch engine that we use. Yeah, that's about it. We're going to enable two-factor authentication for add-on developers. Right now, we encourage all add-on developers to enable two-factor authentication in Firefox accounts, but we want to make that more prominent on the site, and probably we're going to prompt developers to re-authenticate when they are accessing certain parts of developer tools. The goal here is to enhance security and prevent someone from hijacking an account and being able to submit an update to an important add-on. We're going to continue work on the rating and review flow. Maybe if you're following AMO, you'll notice that we've been making a lot of changes around ratings and reviews, particularly how things look on the add-on page, like where you can rate and like how prominent these sections are. So we're still working on certain things there to make it easier for users to well, when you're about to review something, sometimes you don't want to leave a review, but you actually want to ask the developer for support, or maybe you want to report an add-on for abuse to us. So we're trying to make that make those paths clearer for users so that they don't end up using the wrong place for that information. And we're also going to add a method for users to rate reviews as useful or not. So you'll be able to say this review is useful, this one wasn't useful, and that way we can rank reviews by usefulness rather than just recency. And finally, there's some continuing work on the reviewer tools. Chris from the development team has been working on creating a Git backend for add-on source code. And that's what we're going to use as the base for a new file viewer and diff viewer for the reviewer tools. So the work that's scoped for Q4 is probably just going to be an API that sits on top of the Git repository. So it's still not going to be hooked to the reviewer tools, but the next step after that would probably be that. So yeah, we're kind of chipping away at that because it's an important thing, but it's also a fairly large project. And there's a lot of other stuff in flight. But hopefully Q1, we might have something new for reviewers to try out. And yeah, that covers the primary goals. I'm not going to get into the secondary ones because those are probably not going to get done. Yeah, that's it.
So, not too much going on for AMO in Q4. Does anyone have any? Not at
I'll add one
all.
thing. I'll add one thing, which is that Q4 is a very short quarter compared to the others. There's a lot of people on holiday, and it's also a quarter where we have an all hands. So there's a lot of really wasted time that happens in Q4 that makes it harder to get stuff done.
Yeah, true story. And Q4 starts next week. So, does anyone have any questions for Jorge about any of these projects for AMO? Okay, sweet. Mike, I had a late ad for you on the agenda, but since Jorge just gave us a quick update about AMO, I was wondering if there's anything you'd like to share about Q4 plans for web extensions.
Nothing specific right now. I think we're just looking at getting the roadmap in shape for the Mozilla All Hands when everyone meets in Orlando in December, first week of December. Things we're kind of looking at long term though is just as we've introduced a lot of new API, especially in 63, we landed a ton of new stuff. One of the repercussions of that is we've probably introduced a lot of additional bugs. So I know one of the key pushes going into Q4 will be cleaning up and stabilizing the API, and that means cleaning up bugs, polishing off some of the API, and improving some performance areas where maybe we've degraded performance. So we're going to take a step back from landing a lot of features like we have and probably look at cleaning up the API a little bit. If I did want to pick one feature area to highlight, I think we're going to continue adding to the context menu API. I know we have some patches landing for that in the short term, so you should see context menus get a little bit more improvement, and some additional features have been requested over the last few months.
Okay, that makes sense. If there's any good first bugs, feel free to tag them that way. Actually, I'll I'll pass that on to the web extensions engineers too.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of people come in and fixing a lot of good first bugs over in the web extensions API, which is awesome. And hopefully we can continue to grow those numbers. Any questions about what Q4 looks like from the Firefox engineering perspective or side? Okay, sweet. I also wanted to give a quick update about our developer launchpad project. So this was something we talked very briefly about last week, but a small group of us have been working on creating a new like one-stop shop site with resources for extension developers. So we've been working with a design agency called Turtle Inc., and they've been helping us kind of like refine the content strategy and also do the design of it. They're also going to be building the site once it gets up. So I bring this up just because in the next couple of weeks we're going to be looking at our first phase of user testing, and I think there's some folks in this group who might be interested in joining that user testing session and just giving us some preliminary feedback about what the experience is like if you're able to find the information that you're looking for, if the information is helpful, if there's anything that we've kind of missed. So just keep your eyes open. We'll probably be making an announcement at the add-ons community meeting that's closer to that time frame. But if you don't make that meeting, don't worry. I'll do my best to reach out to you and make sure that you're included in that. So we don't have anything to share at this moment, but once we move into that user testing phase, I think that's when we're going to start sharing it with community for feedback. Yeah. Vishwa had also pinged me offline a couple of days ago saying that Hacktoberfest is coming up on GitHub. So Hacktoberfest is something that GitHub sponsors every year to encourage people to contribute to open source projects. So if you land 3 or more patches to any open source project that's hosted on GitHub, GitHub will send you like a t-shirt saying that you participated. So projects for Mozilla, including AMO or WebEx or the linter, those qualify. There's kind of a shortage of bugs right now in some of those repos, especially good first bugs. So before everybody gets excited about jumping in and participating in Hacktoberfest with some of the add-ons projects, I just want to caution you, you might not be able to get to 3 just on the add-ons projects alone. So it might also count if you create an extension and host it on GitHub, so that may be an avenue open to you. I just wanted to give y'all a heads up that that we have a lot of people who are fixing bugs in AMO faster than we can surface new good first bugs. Cool. And then I see from Sylvan that Sylvan asked, is the 1-hour remote video interview still on track with contributors prior to MozFest? So at MozFest, what we're doing is we've invited a small group of community members to come and help us redesign or rethink the design of the submission flow to addons.mozilla.org. In advance of that, we wanted to schedule 1-hour video interviews with the participants to kind of get their take on what the current submission flow process looks like. That is being headed up by Jennifer Davidson, who is the user researcher assigned to add-ons. So I will check in with Jennifer and see what the plan is for scheduling those interviews. My guess is that we'll probably be scheduling them sometime within the next week. I know I'm waiting to wrap up a couple of logistical things on the logistics end, so that might all get sent out in the same email together, or it might be separate depending on the timing between when I get the logistical pieces wrapped up and when we get the, when it makes sense to start scheduling the interview. So it is on its way. It is on its way. So at this point, I would just like to open up the floor and ask if there's any other questions or anything that anyone else would like to share about what they're working on. Okay, cool. This is what I like to call the awkward moment of silence, where if no one speaks, we kind of agree to end the meeting and return back to our day. So thanks everybody for joining us. This has been really excellent to see all of your faces and to hear what's going on. If anything comes up between now and our next meeting, please feel free to reach out. Happy to help, and have fun. Thanks again. Happy Wednesday.
Thank you,
Bye,
Caitlin.
folks.
Bye-bye.